Good day and welcome to the Boombar on your Boom Radio NG. My name is Shola Rojas.
And my name is Ademola Adeleke. You know, the one and only. I'm here again. Thank
Yeah.
you for appreciating me.
So
For coming to see my beautiful face. Thank you.
who's-
Thank you.
who's- okay.
You inclusive.
All right. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, we don't always do that.
Excuse you.
We actually talk music, sports, entertainment, politics, and everything in between. So we bring you stuff that are trending and are interesting, and we try to shed more light on it. We analyze. We already have drinks because we call it the Boom Bar. So welcome to the Boom Bar. Without the shenanigans of this one.
Excuse you. I'm welcoming people on a brighter note.
You know why I like to refer to you as this one? Can I explain? Quickly.
Go ahead.
Quickly. So during the lead up to the presidential elections between Barack Obama and the Republican candidate, he died a few years ago. What can I say? The guy that Obama contested again, and I'm seeing his image now. You know, so at some point in time during the debate, one of the debates, he was going to say, and when I did this in Congress, who went against this one? And so people went off on him after that. What's his name again now?
It's not McCain.
Yeah, McCain. Thanks. You know, people were like, why would he refer to Barack Obama
as this one?
Well, guess who became president of the U.S.?
This one. Okay, so
So that's why I refer to you as this
The-
one. Like,
this one's.
You're definitely gonna be great.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
So let's dive right into it.
so there's there's a lot of news coming from Nigeria, particularly maybe not political. We need to break a few things down. Some things looks like there's a lot of breaking down of laws. New laws are coming into play as we know. For people that do not know, the NNPCs today is now officially a limited liability company. Is now NNPCL. Today, as of today now, this is the Petroleum Industry Act coming into play. Still talking about petroleum. There's a new price in town.
New pump price in Nigeria.
Isn't it
Official pump price.
There's a new price in
Because
town.
we've been paying some kind of prices.
Sorry, I only want to say, can we just go back? Because the fuel that I still bought on Sunday is cheaper than the pump price that they put now.
Well,
So,
trust
maybe.
me, by the time you get to the filling station, they've already adjusted.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, they don't waste time.
Do you understand? I'm like, what I bought a few days ago was still cheaper. So, can I just stick to that? Like, did anybody ask you people? Anyway, so that is also out there. INEC has something to say. INEC is in the news. In fact, one of the most popular INEC residential electoral commissioners is in the news again. We talked about something yesterday when it came to osunstateelections elections and a court case that looks like is brewing, and there's a reaction from the PDP. Looks like it's not as of today, it doesn't look like it's something that's going to be swept under the carpet.
It is a smoking gun.
It is a smoking gun. It really is a smoking gun. Because it's the courts, and especially when Nigerian courts in the past years, we've seen courts sack governors. We've seen courts literally appoint governors. We've seen courts ask for reruns and all that. So we've seen a lot of these things. We've seen the judicial system, when it comes to political and electoral issues, evolve. So I don't think anybody go to sleep on this kind of thing. So that's definitely part of it. Zamfara governor is on a suspension spree and seems to be on an arrest spree of emirs. Emirs look like they're the ones on the other side of it this time. We're talking about Governor Matawalle, and is everything all balls around banditry and terrorism and all that. We talked about it yesterday. There's a major update on that again today. So yes, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about a bit of sports. The Super Falcons. Shout out to the Super Falcons any day, anytime. A lot of encomium has been coming their way. That they're literally the best thing that has come out of Nigeria and even Africa. They're doing really, really well. They didn't get to where we thought they would, but yesterday's game solidified their names in the sands of time. I think I can say that. Also, there's football transfer news. There's still football transfer news. Then there's a bit of entertainment news. This centers around someone that has been in the news a lot for a few days now, and this is a little bit of news on Portable.
Yeah, the guy's name, he calls himself Portable. He has like 1 million names.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he does. Olalomi, this one and that one. He has a lot of names, but he calls himself Portable. And interesting character, actually. We talked about it a couple of days ago. We talked about it a couple of hours ago. So we're going to also be taking a look at his utterances and actions in recent times and the likely implications of the things that he has said and done.
So yes, we're definitely going to be talking about that. And so on that note, let's dive right into it. And let's start from, of course, we're going to start from President Muhammadu Buhari officially unveiling the NNPCL today. And as of today, the NNPC is now NNPCL. And I think that it needs a bit of clarity for a little bit of...
Sure enough, it does.
So, I think this whole drama started, I won't call it drama, this whole event or this set of events started with the signing of the the Petroleum Industry Act, which actually, there are a lot of things on that day, which compels the NNPC to, the CAC, that's the Companies and Allies matters or something. What are they called? It's people that shall literally the
Corporate Affairs Commission.
The Corporate Affairs Commission, the Corporate Affairs Commission to actually register the NNPC as a company. And it is not it is now, what it basically means is that they were supposed to register them, have shares in the company, and they were supposed to it's supposed to become a profit company. Basic. It is not a government entity anymore. They're not supposed to, the government is not supposed to fund it. It's supposed to be run basically as a regular company, the way everybody knows it as. We know that as at when it was registered, it's supposed to be the most profitable company in Africa. But there's no but actually. It is, and now as much as there is a board that the group managing director of the former NNPC still heads, everything is now going to be run basically. I know that also the all producing communities are not even stakeholders. They're supposed to they're supposed to have trust. They appoint trustees and they are paid a clear percentage of profits, the way everybody, like dividends, you pay, basically they're being paid that on the operational cost of the companies. We know that there's the NNPCL, there's the, I think the DPR that became the PPPRA or something, like different. Basically, that was what the PIA came to be. And one part of the PIA that we also know that are still not coming to fruition is the deregulation of PMS, which we don't know when that is going to happen.
Like I know that you were trying to remember the Companies and Allied
Matters Act. Sorry.
That's, we like to call it KAMA in Nigeria. It was the same act that got a lot of churches talking about how government was trying to interfere with the running of the churches, which, of course, when you read it, it's not exactly like that. But today, it's about the
NNPCL.
NNPCL used to be the NNPC. Now there's the L that makes it a limited liability company. It is said that it's taken off with an initial capital of 200 billion naira, and that shows that it's fully capitalized. Like this, of course, we know it's oil and gas, so there's money in it. Again, there's been a deliberate effort to lead up to this point, and what it also means is that all the appointments that we made, we're trying to reflect in federal character, bringing in people from different regions of Nigeria and all of that into the field and all of that. The gray areas, one of the parts where people don't understand is also who owns the NNPCL. Like people are saying,
I think it sold?
Yeah, who took over? We're seeing people from a certain part of the country. I've seen tweets like that, and even on other social media platforms, I've had friends question the whole transmutation or transformation of the NNPC to the NNPCL.
And this matter has been going on for months, so I'm wondering why everybody's just going on about it now.
But in fairness to people who have missed it, like Dolupo pointed out, one of the requirements of the petroleum industry bill, this bill was dragging for years. A lot of people felt that it was never going to happen, but it happened, and this is one of the steps towards changing that entire sector, that entire industry, the oil and gas industry. So the NNPC, the way it was structured before, it was...
They weren't making money, they weren't audited, they weren't nothing. It was just...
Remember when we finally saw
an audit that had never happened before?
People were shocked. I was shocked, So now running it as a limited liability company, is the good thing. But how does it benefit the common Nigerian, the regular people like you and me?
Okay.
And all of that.
The little that I know about it, what makes it the way companies are run, is that every single person now, according to what I read, Nigerians own the company now through the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. It is said that after a number of years, I'm not sure if it's a year or two, people can literally buy shares in the company. But as of now,
without throwing you off, the incorporation that was done today, the rebranding or whatever, was mandatory.
Yeah, it was.
There's a 6 months
window
for them to achieve what they
according to the Petroleum Act.
Yeah.
It wasn't about what they felt like. The minute President Buhari had assented to that bill, things had to be in motion. We know that even before now, this is just an unveiling. A lot of things have gone in. There was a change of board. There was, of course, it started with the incorporation of the registering of the company and all that. There was a timeline that had to be stuck to by the law. The little that I know about it, or the little that I read about it, was that this company is owned by Nigerians through the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Now, also, all producing communities, not states anymore, all producing communities have a stake in the company, which they have percentages, the way you buy shares in a company, and then you get dividends. It is
the company is going to pay taxes too.
Yeah, you're going to pay taxes. It's the same thing. So it is those dividends that the communities get. Remember that there was a lot of fight, hue and cry about it. I think in the House of Representatives, where there was an open hearing about percentage of the company that goes to this. So yes, there is and dividends come from profit that is made. So those what I feel is that most of these communities get these monies directly paid to them. My question in that angle is that, so now what happens to the NDDC? If money is being paid to you as communities, straight up, what's the point of the NDDC?
No. The thing there is that the NDDC is
still funded by the government.
Funded by the NNPCL.
Okay.
It's funded by the federal government.
Okay.
And it's a special vehicle that the government created, to answer to the yearnings of the Niger Delta region. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a duplication of efforts in any way. It's just that the NNPCL will now make sure that the people who own the oil have a stake in the business that is like the biggest, private entity in the Niger Delta region. You get again, the NNPCL will not be limited to the Niger Delta region.
Yeah,
that's another thing about it. Oil prospecting has been going on in the northern part of Nigeria.
Oh yeah, I think Gombe and I can't remember.
Oil has
in
been
Lagos.
discovered in Lagos. So it's not going to be about the Niger Delta alone. So that's why the NNDDC, right?
It's just about the Niger Delta alone. Now, according to what I'm reading, the equity, this is supposed to increase the equity of holding of Nigerians up to 70 to 80%. So at some point, Nigerians will be able to buy shares
within a year or so.
Yeah, you'll be able to buy as much as 70 to 80% of shares in the NNPC.
Well, that would be a welcome development for us as a country, because again, one of the biggest
it happens all over the world. It does,
but one of the biggest issues has always been that we as a country are tired of when we hear these things are happening. Take for instance the privatization of the power sector.
I think that the issue with the power sector, for example, was that number one, I don't think it was done properly. You remember that I don't know if you saw an interview with the former vice president, what's his name now, Atiku Abubakar, where he was literally breaking a lot of things down. And up until a few years ago, I didn't know that the government still owned 40% of those companies. I don't see that as privatization. But even if it is privatization, it's not the same thing as this one's, because this is completely moved as a company. Maybe the power sector needs to move.
Yeah, but what needs to happen is that in the next couple of months, the NNPCL has to show people that it's not
business as usual. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people will still look at it, even if it's two different governments. Government is a continuum. Even if this one was done under one president and another, it doesn't matter to the average person.
How does it affect me as a person?
We've seen you people privatize before, and there was no transparency, and nobody understood how everything was done. And suddenly, the power plants and power generating or distribution companies or generating companies belong to all sorts of people. So they have to hopefully follow through on the laws governing the privatization of this company.
So, still talking about petroleum, and let's come down to petrol. And as of today, the NNPCL, I'm put it like that now, I've officially announced that fuel is now 179 naira instead of compared to the 165 naira that we all know.
So that thing is, it's mixed feelings that I have. For instance, you will find that the pump price is only being used or observed properly or monitored in major cities, especially in places like Lagos.
Okay.
And maybe Ibadan or Abeokuta, close to Lagos, you find that most times when you go out of Lagos, you find that they're selling fuel at God knows whatever price. Notice I didn't even mention Abuja because they've been battling with fuel scarcity
A lot
for months,
for a while,
you
yeah.
know? So, yeah. So, but again, there's a question we always ask: by increasing the pump price of fuel, does this make it available? Because in recent times,
Was the availability that was the problem?
no, availability is a big problem because we don't like the scarcity, situation where we have to queue up for fuel or beg attendants and start to be their best friends just because we want to buy fuel. You understand? Like
I get
they
what you're
become
saying.
demigods and all of that. So, but people always like to say, and I know it's something that we say a lot. Yeah, that can go. We say it a lot that if you sell it at 170, that's the new pump price, right?
179.
179. That's just 180 naira. Will it be available? But that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is that this particular government said that they were going to bring down the cost of fuel. It was one of their major campaign.
Yeah, I think that on that note, not like I'm holding brief for them. I think that at times politicians say things to woo people
So
without knowing
are we going to give them a pass and say, because they just said it, we should let it go?
No. I'm being realistic.
That's fraud, because if you tell me you're going to do something for me and I vote for you because of that and you don't give it to me.
Okay, why I'm saying so is that I think that it happens a lot where a lot of people promise a lot of things without really understanding, which I'm not saying that is a good thing, without really understanding the system. Right now, as of the last increase in we know that pump price of fuel or petroleum products generally all over the world
It's crazy.
is crazy. Not even just that, it's determined by the how much crude oil is all over the world.
Oh, it's crazy. Trust me.
It is crazy, yeah. With what I'm looking at now,
Man.
Nigeria there are only 7 countries in the world that sell fuel cheaper than Nigeria: Venezuela, Libya, Iran, Syria, Algeria, Kuwait, and Angola.
It's scary.
There are only 7 countries where there are over 150 countries. To $1 as of today, Nigeria is selling about $0.43 dollars per liter. Hong Kong is selling as much as $3.024 per liter.
It's even higher than what I have here, 2.69 according to numbio.com.
Oh, okay. This is the latest pricing that I have here as gasoline prices as of 11th of July. That's last week.
Finland is high. Germany, Greece.
Is about $3.1. If we calculate that in Nigeria, we know that dollar is about 420. Let's even say 400. 400 times 3 alone is about 1,200. Imagine buying fuel at 1,200, and now we're buying it at 179 naira. As much as I know that it's not a thing, the honest truth is that I think that at times when we're talking about this thing, especially on a world scale, we should be keeping quiet. Nigeria really should be keeping quiet. But the problem that I have with Nigerian issue is, I won't say it's a problem, because I know that a lot of people are talking about it, and as much as we like to educate people are talking about how we don't have refineries. Yes, I agree with that angle. But I actually saw a report yesterday, and I know that it's something I've been saying for a while, that owning refineries as of what Nigeria crude oil is today, it will literally only reduce the landing cost and all that. So yes, we'll knock off a few nairas, maybe, but not as significant as what we're expecting.
It will do a lot for us because every kobo counts. For instance, me and you know that recently the filling stations in this neighborhood, we've been buying from one guy at 208 naira per liter. We just found a place where it's 170 naira. You get, and that's a lot of money. So every kobo counts. If you say it's not significant, it's not true.
So sorry, Bukola Medubi says yes. You have to be their best friend to buy fuel. I agree with you. It's annoying. It's annoying. It is annoying.
Worship fuel station attendants. How are you?
Someone on normal day that will be able to greet you and all that. Yes.
It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be. But the thing is, if you talk about landing cost, the cost of transport, logistics being removed, again, remember that the crude will not be subject to forex like that.
Oh yes, that's what I'm saying. That it would reduce, but it won't reduce as much as we think it will, because remember that Nigerian fuel is already largely subsidized.
Yeah. So what we're saying is that if you increase local production, you get one, you create more jobs locally.
Yeah, for me, I think
it will reduce capital flight, the cost of sending forex out of
yes. For me,
Nigeria.
I think that us owning our own refineries would affect the economy more than the price of. Do you understand? The price of fuel in itself is more about the whole economy, the forex, the better jobs, for me, than really the price of fuel. So basically,
but in all, the government has to come through. You can't make promises and not keep them, and don't make promises without understanding the situation.
Yes, I think that we're more learned now. You can't just throw around numbers. It happens a lot, and then you get to, not saying that things can't change, not saying that we've seen in a few years, we've seen what has happened. Remember, there was a former media aide of a president that had come out to say that Nigeria can't buy trains because we can't.
Don't sugarcoat. Don't your cuckoo said it on live TV.
On live TV, he said those things. We know that. Oh yeah. Yeah, trains can actually work in Nigeria. We'll see him work. We've talked about roads, second Niger bridge that has been going on for years. I get that things can actually change if you stick to it, but the honest truth is that there's some things that you have to study the system before you can actually make like real change. You don't just throw around numbers. You don't just throw around figures. You don't just throw around promises just because you want people to vote for you. We have become more enlightened as a people. I think that it's time that people would ask questions, and that's the honest truth. So moving off that, I know that is something that everybody's talking about. So anyway, let's just put it out there for people that do not know or haven't bought fuel today. Fuel is officially now 179 naira. Weirdly, I would have thought that there would have been a lot of hue and cry.
From who? Hue and cry from who? The people who have been queuing up to buy fuel in Abuja for months, or the people in Lagos who have been buying at 208? We're already been buying at 210, 220.
179 is a welcome idea.
There's no hue and cry. At some point, you just get tired of the old system and you're like, you know what? Let's just keep moving. I just need to work. I need to move around. I need to get from point A to point B. So I'll buy the fuel.
Yeah. So, anyway, let's move on. Let's quickly move on from that. And let's move on to something that it looks like there's a bit of drama that is brewing. And this is talking about INEC. So the resident electoral commissioner in Akwa Ibom State, Mikeigini, has said today that some politicians might be looking to as much as 2 years imprisonment under the new Electoral Act of 2022. So why is he saying that? He's talking about how, according to the new Electoral Act, you cannot sign or have more than one form, basically, for an electoral, in one electoral like calendar.
Yeah.
So you cannot buy presidential form and buy Senate form.
And this, look, the truth is, there are several people on this table. There are several politicians on this table.
Too many people. Oh.
And this is what they've been doing before. You know, they contest for presidency. When they fail, they step down to Senate. You know, or someone want to be governor, is not working, then they try whatever. They just play all sorts of funny games. You know, politicians and games are 5 and 6. They're like, you know, pari passu. Now, this might not bode well for several politicians. We were speaking to a lawyer before we came on air, and hopefully in the next couple of days we should be able to
we need to break down a lot of things.
Break down the Electoral Act. I have a feeling that if this catches any politician, it's obviously going to be a sad one, because they did not look into that new law. That their brothers and sisters signed to
it. In fact, I'm not even sure a lot of lawmakers, even that agreed to this law, saw this part of the law.
But on the flip side, if you have broken the law as a politician, you should pay. You don't have two heads now. So if you've gone ahead to buy form where you shouldn't buy.
Okay.
Again, one of my biggest fears now, looking at this, is that there are some prominent politicians who are contesting today for the 2023 elections who have bought forms at least two.
Yeah, you know, let me read out something here. According to section 105D of the 2022 Electoral Act, it stipulates that no person shall sign or obtain more than one form as a candidate for different elections. Now, let me start breaking it down a little. I just want to be calling names. So maybe it doesn't apply to some people. Governor Ayade is a candidate for, I think, the Senate in a state right now. We know that he contested for the president under APC. At least we know he bought form. So somewhere, somehow, he bought a form there. So did he not buy a form for? Even
if someone stepped down for you, you still need to fill a form.
Do you? Are you sure?
Oh, you think without me filling any form, or me, they just...
No, I think filling a form, where my issue comes with INEC is that, do I need to fill? Okay, remember that, let's take the APC and the Labour Party, for example, who had placeholders for their vice presidential candidates, yeah? We also read that INEC had said that according to Electoral Act, all they needed to do was for this person that was withdrawing to bring an affidavit, and all they needed to do was bring a signed one to say that he was stepping down, and then they were nominating this other person. What if that's what happens? That's what the law stipulates, and you don't even have to sign another form.
If the law stipulates that for the likes of Governor Ayade and who else?
Dave Umahi.
Umahi and co. Then they are fine. Then this law does not have any
apply to them.
Whatever. But it is rare.
Senator Akpabio is on this table where he's in his own case. He contested for presidential elections where he had stepped down, but he had bought the form anyway. At least he didn't step down until the day of election, so he bought a form. Then went ahead, this one, nobody stepped down. They now had a rerun, meaning that on this vote, you had a form that you submitted that you used to apply for the election. So he contested in 2 elections. I think what INEC is saying is that in an electoral year, you cannot contest 2 elections. Let's take that from Senator Akpabio. We move on to the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and even the vice presidential candidate. Peterobi bought form. He might not have contested, but he bought form under the PDP to
Yeah,
contest.
and pulled out a few days.
He pulled out a few days, about
But the
3
law
days.
stipulates that if you bought a form,
Yes, you're in fact, specifically what says that no person shall sign. So your signature should not even be on 2 different forms. That's what they're saying. And then he moved to the Labour Party, except they would say that the Labour Party did not give him a form.
how now? That's a standard.
The same thing that happened with the vice presidential candidate, where he had
For the Labour
contested
Party.
for the Labour Party, where he had contested for the PDP governorship primaries in
Yeah.
Kaduna State,
So,
where he lost.
so they're saying that he pulled out. You know, I just looked into it now. They're saying that
Oh.
Dati Ahmed.
So are we saying that he never
But
bought a
did
form?
he not buy a form? Is that not what the law says? You get, because they said he wrote.
Okay, so maybe
wrote a
in
letter.
the angle of the vice presidential candidates, you know that they don't buy forms. They're just selected. Their names are not on the
doesn't- so it
forms.
doesn't matter.
So maybe it doesn't apply to him, but it probably applies to Peterobi,
Who has bought forms in 2 different.
who has bought forms in 2 different places. And you know the funny thing why I'm bringing this out is that we also know that in the case of court cases, if nobody takes it to court, it flies. But why I'm happy that this ever came out and the electoral law captured it is because it's a thing with Nigerian politicians. We do it a lot. You lose an election and then they literally buy 2-3 different forms. Same thing that was going to happen with the Senate president, which is very, very shocking. That are we saying that the Senate president in himself did not see this? The president of the Senate signed this into law.
A bill that you sent to the president.
Your deputy
That-
literally championed this. He literally championed it. You sent it to the president, this Senate president. I think that especially any lawmaker, don't let me say any politician, any lawmaker that is in the 9th Assembly that this affects should be flogged. Because it means that
Please don't flog them.
how many of
Just use the law against
how
them.
many of these bills do you actually read before you actually
But
assent
remember
to?
that it passes through the first reading.
That's what I'm saying.
Second reading.
So how many of these things do
Maybe
they
they
even
just
pay
gloss over
attention
it.
to? Exactly.
Or they're just sitting in the house, someone is reading and they're like,
That's where my own issue comes
the
from.
The eyes are
That's where my own issue comes from, because you saw them when they were all their brain was all their veins were popping out when it was about the constitution amendment, especially when it came to things that affected women. They were going on, and when it comes to delegates, and there was all sorts of things, but little things that even affect you more than the Nigerian people, you glossed over it. I like that this is coming out. I hope that a lot of people are more educated. The Electoral Act will be something that I would like to read. Get a lawyer's perspective to a lot of these things. Maybe break it down a lot. Maybe we'll do some sessions and break down a lot of these things, so that maybe, just maybe, we even see what they even presented to the president.
So as it stands, we're just basically trying to point out that based on the law, there might be some seismic movement or shift, in the political structure, or the political terrain in Nigeria, if these pronouncements that were made by the Independent National Electoral Commissioner's top representative, because he seems to be like one of the guys that's
Very
out
vocal.
there,
Very
always
vocal.
putting stuff out.
Yeah.
So it's our job to put it up, because a lot of people just going with the bandwagon. But how well are you checking?
Are you really checking? Yeah.
That some things may actually be
And it's
contrary
good, because
to the
another
law.
thing is that it might be these people now. You don't know if it will be you in a few years' time. So it's good to actually know these things, to know where not to err and all those things. This thing can come to work against you. And looking at something that looks like the law might work against is the Osun State Governor-elect, Ademola Adeleke, where it looks like what we talked about yesterday, looks like a smoking gun, really. Because there is some confirmation from the media department of the Osun State PDP, where they're talking about how the director of media of the Osun State PDP, Oladele Oluwabamiji, had said with an interview with The Punch, had said that there is a need for everyone to come on board in order to have a seamless administration as well as deliver the promises to the people of Osun. He expressed optimism that Prince Babayemi, who took the governor-elect to court, would succumb to the plea and pull out the case. So now they're not saying that the case does not hold water. They are hoping that he withdraws his case.
If that's the case, then it's not yet Uhuru for Ademola Adeleke. You know, because yes, he did win the general elections, but by the laws that qualify people to contest.
People, yeah.
And this is within his own party now.
But
there's
laws...
a court case that might actually prevent him from becoming governor. And this will sound funny to people. Say, oh, you're talking...
But it has happened in Zamfara before.
Facts.
It has happened.
I'm more real, you know. That's why we've been talking about a smoking gun, because a smoking gun is like some kind of incontrovertible evidence that you really can't push aside. So if this is a smoking gun, Adeleke might not even make it, you know, to become the governor of Osun State. So the only way they might be able to get through this is if the other PDP member, the aggrieved president, who actually is believed to have supported him leading up to the elections, stays that way. Because if he wakes up and if he wants to play the spoiler, or if the opposition gets to him,
as of now the case is in court, he would have to withdraw that case, because the minute you don't withdraw that case is still going to go on, and that's the truth of the matter. So we'll see how that works. We definitely will keep tabs on that. And let's move all the way to Zamfara State. Looks like the governor is on a suspension spree, where the governor has officially suspended 5 chiefs that have ties with bandits responsible to hundreds of murders in the state. The state government has suspended and arrested Atiku Abubakar, the emir of Zurmi, for I honestly didn't click until you laughed, for his alleged links to the bandits that have killed hundreds of people in his community. He had also set up a committee of inquiry that is led by Ibrahim Wakala, a former deputy governor of the state, on the allegations against Atiku Abubakar. The state government has also suspended Yandoton Safi, the emir of Benin, for appointing Adamu Aliero, a suspected bandit leader, as the Fulani emir of the region on Saturday. And even the police had come out to say that this Adamu Aliero is still a wanted criminal. Also, the emir of Dansadao, Husseini Umar, the emir of Maru Abubakar Chika, the Dagasin of Nasara Malai, Bello Kiyawa, are also people that have been suspended by the governor.
You know, in recent times, people have said, "Oh, Governor Matawalle has come in for some criticism."
Yeah,
especially when he called for citizens to get harmed, because, like I said, he's speaking from a place of pain, a place of experience, that it doesn't look like the military can handle this by themselves. The police are overstretched, and in the end, we were advising that it should go the way of the JTF, and we found out a few days after he actually set up something like that, like a civilian joint task force that will help fight the banditry in his state. But understanding the structure of Nigeria, especially when it comes to governance, you would realize all the time that traditional rulers have a role to play.
Oh, major role in
constitutionally, you might not see them being assigned certain roles, but they are there, and they are an integral part of our lives and our communities. So again, people find that they are the ones who interface with people at the grassroots, the proper grassroots. So I'm sure it's coming off of this that these people have become people of interest or persons of interest because they probably are falling short. And you know that they're the ones that in the community, they're the ones that will know when a strange place moves into town and all of that. So I really would actually like to commend Governor Matawalle for doing this. You get? Because yesterday when he suspended just that one person, it can't be just one person that's involved because usually you know how these things work. It's like a group, you know, that's working together trying to cause a lot of chaos and stuff. But again, as you go beyond suspensions, you know, people need to be arrested and they must be brought to book. They must face the law. They're not just going to be causing insecurity and we're going to look away all the time. That shouldn't happen.
Okay, so before we move on to a little bit of sports and what's it called, something just popped up now that looks like it's a thing with parties these days to be using known female celebrities as running mates, as Tontodike and Funke Akindele. Looks like Caroline Danjuma has also been picked as the AAC candidate, deputy governorship candidate for Akwa Ibom State.
Who is the governorship candidate?
I don't know. But they're even using Her Excellency already. Oh wow.
Well,
okay.
you see, this is it. We always ask for people to get involved in politics. When they do, we should encourage them.
No, but I think that we're not being realistic.
Why? You don't know her capabilities as
Nope,
a person?
I don't think that we're being realistic.
Are you looking at her based on the fact that she's into entertainment? And
No, not about her. I think that a lot of parties in Nigeria, we saw it happen in Edo. Okay, let's even not go far. We saw it happen in Ekiti State. We saw it happen in Osun State. Who are the two parties that looks like it's going to get anything done in 2023? I said it here before. The PDP and the APC. I think if you are ready to do anything at all, if you're ready to have a fighting chance, find your way into one of those parties. As of now, in 2027, anything is possible. But we're just a few months through the elections. If you are not in the PDP and not in the APC, and the honest truth is that even those APC and PDP, there are some states that going to join each other's parties might not even look too good. But they still have the ones with structures. We saw, I don't know if you saw the statistics, where I think it was Yaga Africa that was talking about Osun State elections, and they were bringing agents, and they only had 4 different, they said only 4 parties had agents in polling units. The APC had 99% of they had agents in 99% of polling units. The PDP had the same as well. Then I think the ADC had about 25% representation, and the Labour Party had only 14% in the polling units. Are we joking? What are the numbers that those people got? That's where I'm coming from. If you want to have a fighting chance in the 2023 elections, don't waste your money. If you cannot join APC, join PDP. If not, it's too late. Maybe it's too late, and then let's just move on.
There's a wave. There's a wave of voters, new voters, registrars, or registered voters, newly registered voters. Sorry, let me correct myself. Newly registered voters. There's a wave of them that's sweeping across Nigeria. A lot of people are getting involved in politics. Look at the Osun elections. There were more votes than the previous election of 4 years ago. You think that might not play a role in this? And remember that a lot of people have been saying that based on the result of Osun elections, things have changed overnight.
Akwa Ibom State.
So yeah. Okay. So what makes you think that the lady Caroline might not be able to, use her star status to draw votes to the party without any political structure whatsoever? What makes you think that she's not going to be able to pull? If we go and check the number of voters that voted in Akwa Ibom the last time, What makes you think she cannot best it? Really, on a serious note.
Okay.
Yes, you talk about how the APC and PDP have structures. We get that. But what makes you think that these people cannot have people, the people, the people can spring up. Look at the Labour Party. People are springing up in different parts of Nigeria now. People are joining the Labour Party. People are volunteering, and they're putting structures in place.
All right.
So the fact that they didn't have more than 14% representation of their agents at the last election does not mean that they cannot surpass that in 2023.
We'll be back here at the end of the elections, and I'm sure that there's going to be a major analysis of this thing. So, yeah, I really hope to eat my words. I really hope so at this point, because it's not looking like it. But anyway, let's move on quickly from that. And Portable is in the news. For people that don't know, he's a Nigerian musician, Nigerian artist. Because I think musician is a very strong word. It's a Nigerian artist that emerged in less than a year. And he came out when Olamide had featured on a song, and that was and the song blew like over the roof. It was topping charts and all that, and that was where he became who he is. So there's been a lot of drama around him.
Yes.
And it looks like he creates the drama by himself. He doesn't even need people to create the drama for him. There's just always something. Over the weekend, he was supposed to be, he was in Osun State and he was singing. He had a concert for the APC.
He didn't even have a concert.
Oh, really? I thought he
didn't.
So the day after, they made a song for the PDP candidate that won in Osun State. The latest drama that comes up is the one that he was mouthing off, where even the police has come out to say that they're going to investigate it, where he was mouthing off that he started some cults, gangs, and all that. And
criminal gang.
Even if you did it, in my mind, I'm like, do people actually mouth off with those things? In fact, calling people's names where there's a video or videos where one person that he had called his name was going off on him, like, when did I know you, and all these things. Because if this thing is not taken with a pinch of salt with what he said, he seemed to have implicated a lot of people.
Yes, and himself too. Again, let's take a look at it. It was barely 2 weeks ago that the same guy, Portable, actually physically attacked someone, and there's a video that he stupidly had recorded and they posted it. He attacked some DJ Chicken or something, and that is assault. And we heard the police were looking for him, only for him to appear in Osun State for the ruling party. So you start to question how serious we are about enforcement of laws that are broken. Because if this guy is wanted or has been invited to explain the video where he was seen ordering, and partaking in the physical manhandling of another Nigerian citizen, he shouldn't be the one performing for any party,
anybody at
any
all.
rally, anywhere. So there, I think the APC erred in that one, because why are you bringing someone of questionable character?
You shouldn't associate yourself with him in the first place.
Except you're telling us that you're okay with whatever he's done. And I'm not sure that party wants to be seen as a party that condones such characters. That's one. Two, he claims in a video that he started a group called Aja Boys and
1 Million Boys.
I've never heard of the Aja Boys, but I've heard of the 1 Million Boys, especially during the lockdown.
Yeah,
people had, especially in the Agege, Alagbado, Ota axis, where he actually lives and is popular. That thing was big. So if this is me being real, if he comes out to say he didn't start it, it was just cruise, he probably knows more than he's saying. Maybe he didn't have the mental capacity to start that or the financial wherewithal, but he must know something about it for him to be mounting off about the genesis of that evil group, 1,000 boys. I mean 1 million boys rather. You get. Sadly, he mentioned some businessmen who had actually helped him along the way. Took him on a tour, 1 or 2 tours, and all of that. I also saw a video where he claims that, look, now it's not like he's supporting the APC or anything. That he supports APC and PDP. That he even made a song for PDP some years ago. That all he does is make songs and record and all of that. That this is his studio. He shot that video in a studio, a recording studio. Then he went ahead to talk about how he was supposed to perform at the APC event. He got there late, and because anywhere he goes, there's a crowd that follows him. So he decided to, go out and whatever. So a part of me is like, oh, you got paid to perform. You failed to show up. You don't want to return the money that you've collected. So he decided to put up some kind of shows that they would say, oh man, at least he's tried, so let's let it go. And you could have just kept quiet at that. Only for you the next day is in Abuja, you know, and is cursing out the government and making fun of them. Meanwhile, what he was saying made sense. Fuel scarcity in Abuja and all the BS that's going on. That's some real nice woke stuff there. But he comes across like a very unbalanced human being.
Yes, I think so.
Actually, some people, they say take their phone away from them. This guy, they should
take your brain.
Take the microphone completely. Like, don't let him talk until he wants to perform Zazu. I tell you, or any other song that he might have recorded after the massive hit that Zazu is or became. You get. So, Portable shows you signs of the kind of society that we live in, but we do not want to be in.
I agree with you. A lot of people have been going off and talking about how they blame Olamide for giving him, for making him big. And I'm like, as much as I agree that I don't think Portable is a friend you want to have.
He's not anybody's friend.
I do not think that you can blame someone for wanting to help the person. If you notice very well, a lot of people are literally dissociated themselves from him.
Oh yeah. Because he fights everybody that comes his way. From the first person that took him to Pokoli himself, to his first almost manager, second, third. You get.
I hope that he just doesn't fizzle out after a while.
He's some kind of character that really needs a
little bit of I think he needs a lot of help. Moving off that, finally, before we go, the Super Falcons have officially been off the they lost their game, this semi-finals game, but they're still going to have to play the third place match. They're going to play the third place match, but they've also qualified for the World Cup. But it was a very interesting game. The game ended 1-1, even with having 2 red cards. I think that it's not a lot of people that get those kind of things done. You don't.
A lot of Nigerians are being very emotional about this result. I have been too, and I know some Nigerians are also saying no, it's not that bad. Look, those 2 red cards were deserved, and I say let's go with the premise that the 2 red cards were deserved. The same offense was committed
elsewhere. What happened?
A Moroccan player in the same game, and nothing happened. The referee didn't even stop the game. You take a look at that. You take a look at how their fans were pointing lasers at the goalkeeper, our goalkeeper.
I think that those things need to be.
Look at, what, it was scripted, and Nigeria was definitely going to lose regardless. So
it was. But my own is shout out to the Super Falcons at the end of the day. On that note, that is all we have to take today. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with another wonderful edition of The Bar. Have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Peace.